Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hey everybody, how are we doing? Welcome back to the Combat Sports UK YouTube channel. And I'm delighted to be joined by two very wonderful people, Raquel Pennington and her daughter Alea. How are you both? How are things?
I'm doing good. Staying busy. We're hanging out, having a good day at home. How you doing? You want to say hi? Can you say hi?
Hello.
No, too busy chewing on my drink.
More important things in life for sure.
Yeah, right.
It's good that you've got her company, because that's kind of where I wanted to start. I mean, obviously you guys have just recently become parents, June of last year. How has that transition been? Kind of, is it something you guys had planned for a while and you knew was in the pipeline? Like, talk us through how it all came about and how it's been since.
So Tisha and I are going on 8 years of being together. It's something that about 2 years in, we've had conversations about. Being in a same-sex relationship, to have a baby, you know, we have to go through a longer process and stuff. And oh, now she wants to say hi. But it's actually, you know, and then being professional athletes and female athletes, it was really hard to figure out when that time frame would be a good time. And then when Tisha and I both fought on, I want to say UFC 273, maybe. When she fought Mackenzie Dern, I fought Aspen on a last minute. She just said, you know, she was like, depending on what this fight looks like, I want to try for a baby afterwards. She went into the fight. We all felt like she won the fight. But I think after that, she was just like, you know, I'm ready to take the time off and stuff and start this journey. So here we are. And it's been the coolest journey. Like, you know, I was a little stressed out at first. I grew up in this huge Hispanic family. I have my godkids. I have my niece and nephews. Like, it was never anything of like, I don't know. I've been able to give kids back. So like, I love hanging out with them, but then I can give them back. I live my life, do whatever. So 2 weeks before this little one was born, I called my mom and I was freaking out, and she was like, yeah, this is like a huge commitment. I was like, I can't give her to anybody. How am I going to adapt? I'm so busy. But it's amazing how everything just naturally happens. You know, we both adapted very well. Luckily for us, she's a really, really good baby. The only thing is she has not figured out the essence of sleep. So that's been the tough part. While I was in camp, I had to move into one of the guest bedrooms for recovery. And then now that Tisha's in camp, her and I hang out, and Tisha's in one of the guest bedrooms now. So we're finding balance with it all. But, you know, she's grown up in the gym and she has fun with everybody who's in there. So it's been pretty cool. And then, you know, I mean, she's 9 months old now, but to see what this little girl has experienced in 9 months, I can wait, because I don't want her to grow up fast. But I'm excited for the time that she can actually understand and I can go back and just show her everything.
Yeah, exactly. And then she can turn around and kind of say, whoa, look what mommy did in a year, right? Like, it's been an incredible year, right? Obviously with the birth of Alea there, and then your 14-year hunt for the title coming to its conclusion in January. I mean, let's go straight there. I mean, how good does it feel to now have that belt all around your shoulder in your house and be able to call yourself the champion of the world?
You know, it's amazing. It's still, I don't know, like, I still honestly don't have the words for it all. My family, my entire life has always called me champ. But now, like, when they call me champ, I'm like, dang, I really am the champion. And I'm not just the champion of like the United States. Like, I'm the champion of the world. I have exactly what everybody wants. Like, I now have the biggest target on my back. Everybody's coming for it. It's such a different experience. It's really cool. It's definitely made my life a lot busier. So ever since January, I feel like I've been nonstop. But I mean, it's awesome. Like, to see, sometimes I just look at the belt and to see like 14 years of hard work, the mountains I've climbed, like the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, and never giving up, like still finding a way through. Even though half of the time, you know, it was just like, it would have been easier to walk away. I finally made it happen, and I'm the 6th ever women's bantamweight champion.
Yeah, and you look at some of those names in there, right? You're talking about Ronda Rousey's, Holly Holmes, Miesha Tate. These are the greats of the greats in the division, and you can call yourself within that ilk. I mean, you touched on it there. It's climbing mountains, it's highs and lows. How did you kind of bring yourself back around from those fights around 2018, 2019, the loss to Amanda and to Holly and to Jermaine as well, to then go on that winning streak and then get to where you've got to now. How did you turn that around, and how did you keep yourself so positive and so resilient to keep going?
You know, it's kind of one of those things to where there were so many points after I fought Misha Tate. I was on a 4-fight winning streak. After I fought her 2 weeks before that fight, I actually tore my shoulder. I tore my bicep. So I went into total reconstructive shoulder surgery, a bicep repair. I had wrist surgery. And then after that, it felt like one beating after another. Like I developed a thyroid issue. It just kept on. You know, before Amanda and I fought, we were originally scheduled to fight in December. Our fight got pushed to May because I ended up in a side-by-side accident. I barely avoided amputation on my leg, ton of nerve damage. Like there's so much that was going on, and I didn't feel like myself. I you know, my mental state was in a terrible place. I was definitely not having fun in the gym or in life in general. Like it was just a lot going on. And then finally, you know, the Amanda fight happened, and then I got so frustrated from that. I wanted to come back and I wanted to be me. So I forced myself into the 25th anniversary, 25th anniversary card. It was here in my home state in Denver. I fought in front of my family and friends, and like, I cannot tell you one thing about that fight week. I can't tell you, I fought Jermaine that night. I don't even remember picturing her face across the octagon from me. Like I was in such a terrible place. That Thursday, I do remember I was supposed to be at media day, and instead I was at an ear, nose, and throat specialist. My thyroid was completely out of control. They were testing me for thyroid cancer. Like it was just beating after beating after beating. And after that, you know, I hit a really dark place, and it was make or break. Like I needed to step away, and I stepped away for a long time. I started to do rehab on my leg, and just really take my time. Well done, mommy. Really take my time and focus on things a lot different. And so when trying to do that, you know, I started having fun again, as my body started to get healthy and I started to feel like myself again. It started to all fall in place. And then I made my comeback, and here I am on a 6-fight win streak and just, you know, enjoying life.
Yeah. I mean, and incredible when you put it in that context as well, especially with the side-by-side and everything like that going on. It's really quite astounding, obviously, to see your mindset and to see the way you kept pushing through those moments of adversity. So going into the Buena Silva fight, was there ever a moment where you were kind of like, where those ghosts kind of came back a little bit? Obviously, you put things behind you with a 5-fight win streak, but was there a moment where you were kind of like, oh wow, this is huge, you know, this has happened to me before, or were you just totally dialed in and ready to go for Buena Silva?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I had a great camp. A lot of emotions came flooding back. Sports psychology is a great thing, I'll tell you that much. A lot of emotions came flooding back being in a high profile fight again. I knew, you know, many athletes spend their entire career working for this opportunity to get a world title fight. And they don't even get the chance, really. For me to have my second opportunity to fight for it, a lot of emotion was there. You know, I experienced like fear. Like I had a lot of fear. I didn't want to fail again, because I knew it wouldn't come around again. It was a lot. And so, you know, it was something new that I had to work through, but I had a great camp. I had, you know, everything was great. And then another mountain had to come my direction. And during that fight week, I ended up super sick. And so my coaches were like, listen, we do not care what this fight looks like. We need you to go out there. We need you for possibly 25 minutes, drag her into deep waters if you have to, because we know she's going to break, and just get this belt, and then we can get you better. So it was another interesting fight week, to say the least. It's like, man, when am I going to be able to catch a break? Like I've been having a great time. Things have been aligning perfectly, and another big profile fight. And I wake up the morning of, and it was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't even know if I can actually fight. And so, yeah, it's been a fun journey, to say the least. I feel like I need to go out and write a book.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I mean, it's definitely that as well. And when you talk about the humble beginnings and everything you came from with the family and everything, there's so much, and you could tell the emotion and the outpour post fight when you're in the octagon. And I want to touch on the fight in a second, but just how how special was that moment for you, and how much were you able to really take it in, have everybody in there with you, and really make the most of that moment?
You know what's crazy is like there's so much adrenaline, there's so much emotion, there's just so much going on when you're inside that octagon, when you're in a fight and right after a fight. Like, and sometimes it's like, okay, you remember bits and pieces, but it's really hard to put it all together. I think from
Mm.
being sick, feeling the way that I felt, I went into that octagon and while they're announcing us, I was talking to my coaches and I looked at my coaches and I said, hey, this is gonna hurt. And they're like, what do you mean it's gonna hurt? And I was like, well, I have zero adrenaline. And they knew how I was feeling all day. Like the morning of the fight, thank God my call time was super late because we were trying to sweat it out. Like I couldn't even talk. I felt like I had razor blades in my throat. It was terrible. And like, who wants to go into a fight already feeling like shit? Like I was pretty stressed to say the least. So we're in the locker room and we're like warming up and I was like, I couldn't break a sweat, like nothing was happening. And then when we're out there, I was just like, it's gonna hurt. And they were like, all right, well, you're a gangster, just push through it. Like 25 minutes. And I was like, yeah, I got it. And so it was weird because while they were announcing us, I was looking around the octagon or the arena. I've never taken in an arena like that, like all the details, watching all the people. I was in a completely different world. Like I'm getting ready to get into a fist fight and I'm just hanging out. Like that is not
Hmm.
happening. And then after the fight, I mean, he's Cormier's talking to me or whatever, but I think for me, like it was just really cool. There was a lot going on. My family's super excited. I think the thing for me was, I was watching the crowd. I'm listening to what he's saying. I'm trying to process like emotions. I'm trying to like also like feel a little bit better in the moment. I'm wondering where Alea's at. Like there was a lot going on, but I definitely like, I took in a lot more than what I ever have. Um, while being in that octagon. And I think the biggest thing for me was just seeing the emotion on my loved ones, having my daughter there, and then just feeling that heaviness of the belt getting wrapped around my waist. Like it's something that I mean, like I said, most people are going to consistently dream about, but a lot of them won't even be able to achieve it and get there. And so to be able to have that blessing and that opportunity, like, man, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's very cool, and you really did make the most of it. I mean, let's touch very quickly on the fight before we talk about what's next. I mean, having said that, it all kind of clicked a little bit now, right? That first round kind of started a little bit more difficult and a little bit slower, so to say, and then you really put it on her and put her in deep waters as the fight went on. A, was that how you were anticipating the fight to go? Like, did you guess that she would come at you? Obviously, with how you were feeling as well, and then B, how happy were you overall that you were able to overcome all of that and then pick up the victory in the way you did? Because really, those later rounds, you really took it to the cleaners, as we say in the UK.
Yeah, honestly, I felt like I could have put more out there in my camp. Like I completely shifted gears. I was trusting in my hands and all my abilities. I really opened my toolbox. So to go out there and kind of like, I felt like, the fight started, and as soon as it started, with just the way my body felt, I mean, we tied up, and I felt like my muscle endurance just went like this. Like it was terrible, and I was like, wow, okay, this is gonna be fun. And there was moments, I felt myself striking and my coaches were screaming at me, mommy. There's moments that, I was striking and my coaches at one different points, like we kept tying up and the coaches are like, separate and hit her. And like everything in me was like, separate and hit her. But like, I could not get, she's telling you about it. I could not get my body to like do that. Like I felt so in shape and so exhausted. And so I mean, for me, it was frustrating because in the second round specifically, I remember I threw a right hand to her, and when I hit her, she turned and she stayed turned on the side of the cage. And there was moments in there that like I felt like I could have finished the fight, but it was
Hmm.
crazy because it was like no matter. And for people out there, they're like, we have these interesting fans these days that like they don't live in our shoes for 10 seconds. They don't understand that like clench work is actually absolutely exhausting. It may look boring and you're on the fence and everything else. It's so freaking tiring, like all the different aspects in the sport. And then when you're just in there and you're trying to go and they're like, oh, everybody's telling you to do this and you're even telling yourself to do this, but your body's just like not doing it. Like It's a really intense feeling. So for me, I was frustrated because I wanted to put on a completely different performance for my world title fight. I felt like it was a great opportunity against an opponent that I could have put on a performance that I've been waiting for. But you know what? At the end of the day, it played out the way that it was supposed to play out. The fun part about it is I get to defend the world title, and there's going to be other fights to be able to put on exciting fights. So at the end of the day, I'm proud of what I did, feeling exactly how I felt. I went out there, I'm the 6th ever women's bantamweight champion. No one could take that away from me. I accomplished my ultimate goal after 14 years, and I'm doing exactly what I need to change my family's life. And so that's what matters most to me right now.
Yeah, too right, too right. And when we look at those other fights, I mean, there's somebody obviously who's making a lot of noise in the division, whether they deserve it or not. There's also the UFC 300 fight with Holly Holm and Kayla Harrison. I mean, other than that, there's not really within that top 10 that many people booked. What would you like next? I mean, what are you looking in the division? What are you thinking looks good to you? What do you think would be a great fight, and what would you want?
So I've always been anyone who, whether UFC says it or not, I've never turned down a fight in my entire career. I feel like everybody brings a different challenge to the table, and I love that. I love
Hmm.
challenges. So that's something big for me. But I think at this point, I do feel like Juliana has been the fight that I've been waiting for since we were on The Ultimate Fighter together. Here we
Hmm.
are 11 years later. And so it'll be the biggest profile fight for, with us, instead of just like a fight in a bracket on the Ultimate Fighter show or the finale of that show or something. Like somehow it's aligned to where it's this. For me, that's the fight that makes more sense. UFC has a way of doing business. Obviously, like you said, Holly Holm, Kayla Harrison coming up. They both have huge names. I really do feel like UFC is expecting Kayla to win this fight. And
Hmm.
then they have a way of liking to fast track certain people. Being that athlete who I've never been handed a single thing, like I've had to work for everything that I have. And, I've been the underdog my entire career. I've been, just, I feel like the dark horse in women's MMA. I've been over here just kind of grinding, being myself, doing whatever, living my life, coming out there. They have game plans and I shut down their game plans, and I'm still just, accomplishing things on my own. So for me personally, like I said, I'm not opposed to fighting anybody. At some point, to fight Kayla Harrison, to fight Holly Holm again, great, would love to. But there are so many other, Mummy, there are so many other women in this division who have been working their asses off and training
Hmm.
every single day. They've been in the UFC for a lot longer. They deserve the opportunities. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like as a person and as that athlete that's had to do that, like, I advocate for them a little bit more and would rather fight like that. But I mean, then you have the business portion, the entertainment portion. There's a lot more that comes into it. So as of right now, Juliana is the one that myself and my team is looking at.
Hmm. No, and that's really admirable. I feel like the women's bantamweight division is one of those divisions at the moment where you get a good win and it puts you almost right in there, right? It puts you right in the picture. So it's super admirable that you're looking to get those opportunities. So just finally, I mean, when would you kind of like that fight? Do you have a timeline yourself? Obviously, you've got Tisha's fight coming up. You've got other things to do as well. But when ideally would you like to get back in there?
So I personally would like October, November timeframe. I feel like it would be a good time frame. During my last camp, I did get stem cell in my shoulder, so I'm currently doing some rehab, and just kind of properly taking care of my body. Like you said, Tisha's in fight camp. It's her time to shine. I'm so
Hmm.
excited for her to make her return and be able to experience coming into a fight as a mom. Like it's a totally different feeling. So super excited for that. Right after that, Alea's first birthday comes up June 1st. So I want to just be able to enjoy life a little bit. And I mean, I'm 35 now. Like
Hmm.
I'm getting back in there. I'm the champion. Like I'll be on the grind, but I need a little bit of time off to take care of my body. Like I can't just pop my knuckles and go anymore. Like
Hmm.
I actually warm-ups take a little longer. Injuries are a little different. So there's things there. So that's my time frame. UFC has already reached out for an earlier time frame, but we'll just kind of see how things feel. We'll see how rehab continues to go. But right now, like I'll tell you what, with the time frame that they want, there's no way that Tisha and I can both be in camp and be moms. Like, not
Wow.
gonna work.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, and that's That's a lot as well, especially when you've overcome the mountains that you've come that we've talked about in this interview. Especially as being the champ, you don't want to go into a fight like that. So if October, November, hey, MFT is always kicking around in November. I'm sure that'd be an incredible opportunity for you. And just briefly,
Absolutely.
how's Tisha doing? How's she doing back in camp? She fights obviously in May, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. How's
She's
she
fighting
feeling?
Mother's
How's
Day
she looking?
weekend. So she fights
Okay.
May 11th, Mother's Day weekend. It's like perfect time frame. I feel like everything's just kind of aligning perfectly. And she's great. She's extremely motivated now being a mom. She's also extremely motivated with me winning the world title. So she's like a little kid in the candy store. I've never seen that girl so excited to get back into the gym. She's training super hard. She's fighting Tabitha. I think you say it Riki or Ricci. I'm terrible with names, but she's fighting her. And for me, like, I'm excited for her comeback. That fight, I keep joking with her because I'm like, dang, you're finally fighting somebody your size. You guys have the same exact like body build. You guys are both high-paced fighters. Like, I'm exhausted even thinking about this fight, but it's gonna be great. I'm super excited for her.
Yeah, amazing. We're all excited. We're all looking forward to getting back in as well. And it's been a 2-year layoff, so just having the pair of you active is it's an absolutely wonderful story. And look, you've been incredibly gracious with your time with Aaliyah there with you as well. We thank her for the appearance in the interview as well. I'm sure she'll look back on it and think, "Well, what was going on there?" Just finally, any shout outs, any members of your team you want to mention, any sponsors or anything like that? I'll hand the floor over to you, Raquel.
Yeah, of course. First and foremost, thanks for having me on. It was great talking with you. I do want to give a shout out to my true fans out there. I love each and every one of you guys. You guys say that I'm out here inspiring you guys, but it's a full positive circle for me. As much as I may inspire you guys inspire me to continue to be great and keep pushing. Of course, a shout out to my team, Team Rocky, all my teammates out there who helped me to get to exactly where I'm at. And then just my loved ones. I come from a super supportive family, and I couldn't be more grateful for that.
Amazing, amazing. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. That is the UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion of the world. We could say of the world. It's not like NFL or NBA where, only the national teams compete. Of the world, Raquel Pennington. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. We can't wait to see you back in there. We hope everything goes well with Tisha's fight and obviously before Alea's first birthday as well. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.